This video is part of a series of SSIS tutorial videos created by COZYROC. In this video, I will show you how to configure a package that copies data into a different Excel file with a unique name each time the package is executed. In this demonstration, I'll be using data from a SQL Server table and writing it into a different Excel file each time the package is executed. So this is the data we'll be working with, and this is the table. There's 24 rows here, and the name of the table is Gaming Data Table. And then this is the folder where I'll be writing each of the Excel files each time the package is executed. And I have one file sitting there initially just for initial configuration. And you can see it just is blank. And here we are in Visual Studio. And I'll start by dragging the Dataflow task onto the canvas. Double click to go to the Dataflow canvas. And we'll use the OLE DB source. And this will be reading the gaming data table. And I'll double click on that to open the editor. I need to set up a new connection manager. And we'll choose the correct server here. Click OK. And then I'll choose the table, which is named Gaming Data Table. And let's see, we'll just preview it so you can see it's the same data we were just looking at in Management Studio. And we're done configuring that. And now we'll get the Excel destination, drag that onto the canvas, connect the arrow, and this will be write to unique Excel file. I'll double click on that, and we need a new connection manager for this, so I'll browse to where that single file is, and we'll use that one to begin with. And I need to set up, because we're going to be creating a new Excel file each time, I need to set up the worksheet in the file each time we execute the package. And I'm going to call it South Elgin. And I'm going to copy this create statement and save it for later. We'll be using it momentarily. I'll click OK to close that. And now we need to select the Excel sheet that I just set up. So we can select either the one with the $sign or the other one with no $sign, and I'll just choose the one with the $sign. And then we'll click on mappings, so all the columns get mapped. And we'll click OK to close that. All right, so if I execute the package now, of course the name isn't going to be unique yet. And it'll just be using that one file that was sitting in that folder. And we'll stop debugging and go take a look at that file. So if we open the file, you can see sheet 1 is still there, and we now have a sheet called South Elgin with all the 24 rows copied to it. So I'll close this. We won't be using that file again. Stay tuned to see how I complete the configuration of the package and execute it.
Are you tired of updating packages because of changing metadata? How many hours have you spent accommodating new source and destination columns? How many nearly identical packages do you have to maintain? Especially when you need to update hundreds of them. Well, you should check out COZYROC's Dataflow Task Plus component. Dataflow Task Plus provides the ability to acquire the metadata and map the columns at runtime. You can even use transformations on the data. Just add the changes at the source and destination, execute, and Dataflow Task Plus will handle the process of extracting, transforming, and loading the desired columns from the source to the destination without a need to change the existing package. It works with any standard SSIS Dataflow components, transformations, and application adapters. No more manual package updates. Design your SSIS data flows with Dataflow Task Plus and save hundreds of hours. A vision of completely metadata-driven processing is now possible. Download COZYROC's Dataflow Task Plus from COZYROC.com. It's free for testing and development within Visual Studio.
So now I need to go back to the control flow canvas. I'm going to continue by dragging the execute SQL task onto the canvas. And we need to create a unique name for each Excel file. So the easiest way to do that is to append a date to a file name. So here you can see that's the format of the date and time we'll be using. And then I just took that statement and added what I want my file names to start with. And it'll be South Elgin _ and then the date will be after that, the date and time. So it'll look like that. All right, so we'll call it create unique name, and we're going to need a variable to work with. In fact, we're going to need two, so I'll call the first one file name, and it'll be a data type of string, and I'll just choose gaming data.xlsx. And then we double click on the execute SQL task. We're going to be getting a single row. We'll use the same connection manager as the source data is using. And I forgot to copy that statement from Management Studio, so I'll do that now. And we'll paste that in for the SQL statement. And then we need to load that, so the result set is a single row. We'll go over to set up the result set. We'll add a row here, put a 0 under result name, and it's already selected the variable, which will be file name. Now another variable that needs to be set up is for the folder path. So we'll just call this folder string, and then I'll go over to that folder and I'll copy it, copy the address as text, and I'll paste that in here. And now we're going to use the execute SQL task again because we just created that file and we need to put a worksheet in it. So this is going to create the worksheet in our newly created file each time we execute the package. Our connection type now will be Excel because a worksheet is considered a table in Excel. We use our Excel connection manager, and then the statement we're going to use is the one that I saved a couple minutes ago. It'll be this. So it's adding all the column names as well as the worksheet name. And we'll paste that into the SQL query. Our worksheet name will be South Elgin. And we'll click OK to close that. Connect the arrow to the data flow. And then we need to change our connection manager to use a dynamic name for the Excel file. So I opened the properties by right mouse clicking on the connection manager, and here you can see the Excel file path property. That's the property that we want to make dynamic. So I go to expressions and choose the Excel file path property, and then we're going to use our two variables in the expression. So we'll start out with the folder, and here you can see what that looks like. So now we need to add the file name, and we need to put in a backslash by typing a plus sign, double quotes, backslash twice, and that's because it's an escape character. And then we put the file name. So now what our expression looks like is that. We'll close that out, close out the properties. Now it's complaining because that file in the file name variable doesn't actually exist. So what I'm going to do is go to the properties for the Excel destination and change validate external metadata to false. We'll see if that goes away, and it does. So I'll save the package, and we can now execute it. And it was successful. So I'll stop debugging, and we'll go take a look at that file. And there's the new file. You can see it has South Elgin underscore and then the date and time. And we'll open it up. There you can see it has a worksheet name of South underscore Elgin, and it has our 24 rows. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to follow us on social media, here's how you can do that.